You've probably heard me say that the best stepmom support doesn't just focus on stepmom life. I've found that the best stepmom support goes deeper than simply understanding the complexities of the stepmom role. It's more than learning ways to co-parent and manage the ex and foster a relationship with your stepkids and find your place within it all. That's why now I'm offering 360-degree stepmom life coaching and mentorship. This is a 3-month mentorship tailored to your unique life and your unique goals. This is next level coaching and support for those who are ready to dive in and create major change in their life. This mentorship includes goals and aspirations outside of your stepfamily, including your self-care practices, your rhythms, personal growth, and confidence. It's for stepmoms who are really ready to take control of their life. It's for the stepmoms who want to redefine their stepmom experience and look at their stepmom triggers and experience in an entirely different way. Who are you outside of motherhood and stepmotherhood? Who do you want to be? What does your best self look like? And what is preventing you from showing up as that person right now? That is what this mentorship is all about. If you want to work with me one-on-one for 3 months and to dive into all of this and completely transform your stepmom experience, head to www.jamiescrimger.com/coaching to learn more. This is an investment. This is a commitment. There's limited spots available. In addition to bi-weekly calls, we connect through voice and email support whenever you need it. It's you and me for 3 months. For all the info, head to www.jamiescrimger.com/coaching. Hey, it's Jamie Scrimger. When I became a stepmom, I quickly realized that while moms are encouraged to keep it real, there's a big double standard when it comes to stepmoms. So I decided to start the conversation myself. Thriving as a stepmom doesn't just come from conversations about being a stepmom, though. Here, we dive into marriage, relationships, personal growth, and more. My mission? Inspire you to live a kick-ass life while bringing you along as I create my own. This is the Kick-Ass Stepmom Podcast. Hello. Welcome to the Kick-Ass Stepmom Podcast. Jamie here. All right, so in this episode, I'm going to talk about something that, I don't know, it might get me in trouble because I feel like you're not even supposed to talk about things like weight loss anymore. But I really want to talk about weight loss because for the longest time, I was struggling so much to feel comfortable in my body. I was doing everything right. Well, I felt like I was doing everything right. I was moving my body, all the things. And man, nothing would budge, like nothing. And I know they say, well, you're in your 30s, late 30s. That's just what happens. But I've learned that's not what has to happen, I guess. And I know there's this big push for loving your body and embracing your curves and all of the things like body positivity. And I'm 100% all for that. But I do believe that self-love and loving your body is about taking care of yourself and nourishing your body and giving your body what it needs. And so that has been the journey that I have been on, I would say for close to a year now. So in the summer of 2023, so this past summer, I had been working with a functional doctor to get my hormones in check. I just was not feeling my optimal self. I really opened up to you guys about my experience with burnout and just straight up, I was gaining weight. And it was like no matter what I did. And hey, I know I enjoy a couple glasses of wine here and there. We do have a lifestyle where we like to go out for dinner and we like to do those things. But I truly believed, and I do truly believe, that you can find balance and still feel good in your body, still feel confident, still feel fit and all the things. Well, having a couple glasses of wine here and there. So I was kind of on a mission to do that. So the functional doctor was working, things were going good. I was feeling better and better. So my girlfriend was signing up for this Metabolic Reset program that she had heard about through someone she follows online. And I looked into it and I was like, honestly, what do I have to lose? If you're doing it, I'll do it. And I did it. I joined the Metabolic Reset program. My coach is on the podcast today, Jen Vasey. She has literally changed my life. And I'm so excited to share this with you because it's not about just weight loss. It's about managing your stress and your sleep. And just, it's all about your lifestyle and finding a lifestyle that works for you. So I'm going to be 100% honest. I have not followed the program 100%. I was really strict at first. And then, a couple weeks in, we had Nashville for my stepdaughter's 21st birthday. And we had another event, and then it was Christmas. So I've probably been following it 75 to 80% and definitely allowing myself to live my life, which, as I said, was the goal. So I do treat myself, but when I treat myself, it's not like this balls to the walls, eat everything in sight, I'll start over tomorrow. I enjoy treats here and there. I will have the wine, I will have the pizza, but I'm going to have one slice of pizza. I'm really being more conscious about my habits and how they make me feel. And I'm sharing this episode with you guys, and I have had Jen on the podcast because I have talked to so many women who feel the same, who are struggling with weight gain, who are feeling blah in their 30s and their 40s and their 50s, who are having all of these health problems come up, and they're like, I cannot figure out what's going on. I do not think we need to feel like crap. I have spent the last, 6+ months really committing to feeling good. It has not been an easy process, but it hasn't been hard. And I definitely feel way better than when I started. Anyway, I wanted to share this with you. I wanted to get all of the information. I want to have Jen on the show and have her just explain the Metabolic Reset program, how she helps people, what this looks like. You get your blood tested. There's specific foods for specific people. Like, it is like a whole thing. And I have learned that what works for one person is not going to work for another person. So that chick that you're following on Instagram with the 6-pack of abs, just because she is intermittent fasting or just because she is eating some sort of diet or some sort of protein every day, doesn't mean that that's going to work for you. As I said, you get your blood work done and you get a plan that works for you and your body. It has literally been the best investment that I have made in myself, hands down. And if you were listening to this and you're like, okay, I want to work with Jen. I don't even know what she's going to say in this podcast, but Jamie has dropped some pounds. She's feeling great. I can totally resonate with what she's saying. She is offering listeners of this podcast $100 off her program. So when you reach out to her, and I will link all of her information in the show notes below, let her know that I sent you. And yeah, I'm really excited to share this. And for those of you who decide that it's exactly what you needed, I am excited for you too, because it's literally changed my life. Jen, welcome to the podcast. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, well, I just feel like this information and this program, it just really changed the way that I look at eating and showing up for myself and health and like all of it just really changed my life. So I'm always about, if something is really beneficial for me, I'm like, okay, I'm sharing it with my people. And I've never really done content on like weight loss and anything like that before. So this is the beginning.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you again so much for having me. I'm excited to dive in. For everybody listening, my name is Jen Vasey. I am a registered holistic nutritionist. I am a top metabolic balance coach. And more recently, I am the CEO for Metabolic Balance Canada. And I can't wait to dive into my pillars of health and teach you a little bit more about the program. It could help you as much as it's helped Jamie and so many other people.
Yeah. And so what I've been telling you is, and I'll get you to explain the program in a second, but for, I would say, the last 3-4 years, I could not budge the scale. And I was doing all of the things. Like, I'm a pretty healthy eater. You know, when I have treats, I'm not eating like the whole cake. Always been good with my portions and things like that. And I was feeling so frustrated because I was like, I don't know what else to do. And nothing was budging for me. And I was just not feeling good. So when my girlfriend was like, okay, I'm doing this thing, I was like, you know what, honestly, at this point, what do I have to lose? I'm just going to do it too. I didn't even really look into it that much. I was like, I'm just going to do it if you're going to do it. Because she always does the research. So I'm like, you took care of it? Good. And it's been game changing for me. So if you could just kind of explain the program, what it's about and how it works, I think that would be really helpful.
Absolutely. So Metabolic Balance was initially developed over 25 years ago. It was actually developed in Germany by a doctor who was looking to heal patients in his practice. So it's very much geared towards a health and wellness program. And it really actually supports anybody who's struggling with metabolic syndrome. Now, metabolic syndrome can come from so many different angles. A lot of people are struggling with hormonal balance, obesity, hypertension, high cholesterol, diabetes. Like there's so many things that nowadays people are struggling with. And so what he very much realized is that he could actually study the chemistry of the individual person and say, I'm going to do a really full analysis of your lab values and look at any imbalances, any deficiencies, your inflammatory marker, where your blood sugars are at, what's going on with you specifically, and then study the chemistry of food and use very specific foods, the right ratios of macronutrients, eating at certain times in the day to really heal. So the program does 4 key things. So it's an anti-inflammatory program. So it really supports healing any inflammation in the body. It stabilizes blood sugars. Sometimes people don't fully understand the power of having stable blood sugars. That's what keeps us consistent, our energy, our focus, our mental clarity, our good sleep later in the evening. Stable blood sugars is really important. Number 3, it's hormonal balance. So we really focus on the master hormone being insulin. And then from there, we're able to support and kind of trigger that hormonal balance amongst the body. And then the 4th thing that it accomplishes is weight loss, because what happens with those first 3 things is naturally your body will start to achieve an optimal body weight, a healthy body weight when you're doing those things. So fast forward to today, yes, a lot of people come to me with these similar frustrations that you've had where they're like, I can't get the scale to budge. Like I feel like I'm doing the right things and eating healthy foods, but the body obviously is looking for something that's going to be a little bit different. And so people will come to me to accomplish weight loss, but what we're actually accomplishing is all of those other things that I just discussed. And so by having a holistic whole food approach, and that's all we do is we teach you how to eat for your body. And it's not a one size fits all. It's not a blanket approach, because that really doesn't work. And we know nowadays that doesn't work. A program that could work for somebody that's like the one size fits all doesn't work for somebody else, right? It leaves that other person being frustrated. And so this program is always a tailored, individual specific program to that person. And that's why it's so effective every single time. Yes, is there times where we work through obstacles? Maybe it's not, you're not always following it perfectly. And so we work through that. But when you're following the plan and you learn how to follow it, it works. It works every time. And so it's been so rewarding for me these last few years. I've been a nutritionist for well over 10 years, and I've done all of the different avenues working with clients. And in these last 3 years, this is the only program I offer, because it's the only program that's been effective over and over and over again. So so that kind of like wraps up the program in a bit of a nutshell, where you have to get your blood work done, and then we're able to come up with a tailored approach based on your body and your chemistry.
Yeah. And it's so crazy, because I was talking to my girlfriend and she had it. And so the first couple of days, I'm not going to lie, I was a little hungry. And I was like messaging you, I'm like, I'm hungry. Yeah. And I wasn't measuring things enough. I wasn't actually eating enough. I screwed up on the one section. But anyway, we're going back and forth, her and I, and we're texting. And she's like, there is no way that you're hungry. And I'm like, what is on your list? Like, what are you having for breakfast? And our food lists were so different. Like, I could not believe how different our food lists were. So she's allowed to have beef, and beef wasn't on my list. She was allowed to have like Greek yogurt, and like on that initial kind of like 2-week period. So we had these like such different lists of the foods that were optimal for us. And I'm button mushrooms was like something that was really big for me, cherry tomatoes, mangoes, like all of the things that were on my list. And I just think it was so interesting, because for so long we've all been like, oh, okay, you just need to count calories, or just get more protein, or make sure you're taking this supplement. And it's so backwards, right? Because we've both had such great success with the program, but our diets are completely different.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just it. So many people come to me and they're like, they've done all of these, they've been to naturopathic doctors, and they're trying to do, hormonal testing and trying to figure out why their body isn't responding. And a lot of people will do testing as to, okay, well, what are the foods I shouldn't eat, right? Like, and they'll come to me and they're like, yeah, I did this food sensitivity test, and I know I can't have this and this. But what people are lacking and what's struggling with is no one is telling them what they should eat. No one is saying for your body to optimally operate and function well, there is certain foods that are going to be the most beneficial for you. And so once you're presented with that, it's like, okay, I know that I can start with these sets of foods that are going to really heal me. Once we support your gut health and we stimulate those digestive enzymes, and as you know, we start to bring in more foods, but you're in a much better position to be aware. We do that test and assess method as to like how your body is responding to these foods. So definitely having that specific list for you is a huge game changer for so many people, because now someone's actually telling them this is what to eat. And that's where people are struggling. They're like, someone tell me, give me the plan, give me the direction, tell me what's going to work for my body and I'll follow it. Because otherwise we're just left to go, okay, I know I can't have this, but what can I have? And so it is amazing. No two nutrition plans are the same ever. It's wild.
And I think I had white potatoes on my list, and you're like, I haven't really seen a lot of white potatoes on people's list. I'm like, oh, I'm here for it. Right. I was like, is that a French fry?
Yeah, exactly. And that's just it. Like it really is. It's a very science-based program. And when you really piece the science into it, that's why it's so effective.
So cool. And so I have noticed, and we've talked about this because I'm a rule breaker, right? And it's, again, the girlfriend who did this together, she's like, why don't you just follow the rules? Like, why don't you just do it right? And I said, I don't know. I'm just always a bit of a rule breaker. I just like to do that. And so, you know, I went on this program and I was very strict for 3 weeks. And then we had Nashville, my stepdaughter's birthday. And then we've had like a bunch of other things come up. So, you know, come weekends, I'm pretty lenient on things. And then I kind of come back in. It's crazy. Like, I think I texted you after Christmas. I said, I did not gain any weight on Christmas. Like the cream cheese dips and the stuffing that I consumed over this time. Can you share like what's going on there? Because like, I feel like my whole body has changed, and you said your metabolism is reset.
Yeah, it has. And so what happens is when we start to go back to those things that I was talking about, we start to heal that inflammation. We start to support and kind of fix our internal gut health and support those digestive enzymes. And then our body is working for us. So a lot of people will give me this exact same feedback where it's like, when I go on vacation or I do decide that I'm just going to, going to allow myself this, I'm not feeling the repercussions that I might have before. And so what happens is you're doing the work in the beginning to get your body in a place that it's really working for you. And the body always wants to do that. It's always working for you. It's always looking to heal, but it can only heal based on its fuel source. And so once we start to change that fuel source and we start to fix not only the foods, but again, okay, when I'm eating in the day to best stabilize my blood sugars, and all of a sudden we start to have that gut repair, then your body is working for you even when you've decided to take some time to, enjoy the holidays or, whatever it might be. So it's really advantageous to kind of put that work in the beginning, be aware of how your body operates, and then over time it gets so much easier. And that's why this is always going to be a lifestyle program, with the intention that what you learn will benefit you indefinitely. And I work very closely with my clients so that our program, I work together for 6 months so that we can overcome any obstacles, any hurdles, educate you. We work through phases so that by the time our time is done together, you are so loaded with the resources that you will always, I know we were chatting about this even before, you always know what to do. You always know what to do. You're never in a position where you go, should I try something else? Like, there's something different. And that's really what's most beneficial at the end of it, is like the weight lifted, literally, as far as like, now I know I'm educated and I know what works for my body and it will benefit me indefinitely. So yeah, it's really just repairing that gut health. And you hear a lot about repairing gut health so that you can overcome a lot of ailments. And for a lot of people, that also means the reintroduction of foods that they've struggled with, they've been struggling with for years. But when our digestive system is repaired and our enzymes are stimulated and we have that good gut microbiome, then our body is happy and it's able to digest and tolerate foods differently. So yeah, it can be really helpful. And the other piece I will say to that is that even when we're indulging over the holidays, let's say it might be, because we ingrain these kind of day-to-day principles on a regular basis, sometimes we find that we're doing them naturally, that you're not even so much thinking about it anymore, right? So like, even though maybe you're having some of your favorite foods, a lot of the times we're still sticking like, yeah, but I'm still eating 3 times a day and drinking all of my water, right? Like, I'm not necessarily having all the late night snacks or things like that. So we start to ingrain these habits that are also helpful as well.
I have never been one of those get ready with me, here's my makeup routine girlies on Instagram, but I do get asked a lot of questions about the products that I use and my makeup routine. So here's the deal. A few years ago, I learned about HB Face from someone that I follow on Instagram. I decided to place an order. I just loved that the founder, Haley Bogart, her makeup routine seemed simple. It was an easy process. She had great tutorials on her Instagram, and I was like, okay, I'm going to try this. Plus, she's a badass female entrepreneur, and I love supporting that. So after using her products for a few days, I ended up throwing everything else in the garbage. It is so good and changed the way I feel about doing my makeup. So Haley Bogart is a makeup artist, and she has built a trusted brand by working with celebrities and influencers and countless others across the globe. She has locations in Toronto and Oakville and has huge plans to expand. And guys, her skincare and makeup line, well, it was created with formulas perfected for simple and effective everyday use. And each product was created based on a belief that beauty should be fun and effortless and stress-free, which I am all about. I love all of her products, but I will quickly run through my favorites. So her Skin Perfector is like a light foundation that just perfects your skin and evens out tones. It's just not too heavy. I love it. I love the concealer. I use the bronzer, the tint sticks for a little pink on my cheek. Her mascara is bomb, and her brow kit is next level. Also check out the skin butter and the face scrub. It is so good. So if you go to hbface.com/Jamie Scrimger and use the code HBJamie, you will get 20% off your order. That's www.hbface.com/Jamie Scrimger, JAMIESCRIMGEOUR, and use the code HB20. You'll get 20% off your order. I know you're going to love this makeup. And when you get it and you try it and you love it, shoot me a DM on Instagram. I can't wait to chat. Okay, we are going on a family trip. We got a family vacation to Mexico, leaving in a week, and the whole freaking crew is going. And I am working on packing everyone up. Yes, I am helping the kids pack. Even though they're teenagers and young adults, I am making sure that they have everything that they need. Everyone has nice outfits for dinner and just all the things. And because we have so many people in this family, and we're bringing my stepson's girlfriend and my stepdaughter's boyfriend, we have a couple rooms. One of the things that I'm making sure that we all have in our rooms is Element. So Element is my go-to electrolyte drink mix. It has everything you need and nothing you don't. That means lots of salt, no sugar, no artificial ingredients, coloring, etc. Just no BS. It is formulated to help anyone with their electrolyte needs, and it's perfectly suited if you are following a keto or a low carb or a paleo diet. It is perfect for professional athletes, for everyday moms. It's really for everyone. I'm obsessed, and I have been for a couple of years now. They have been sponsoring the podcast for a year or so now. It is just so aligned. Lately, I have been loving it during hot yoga classes, when I need to rehydrate, when I'm traveling, and after some cocktails. And when I'm away, I try to stay away from the sugary drinks. So I will get some soda and tequila and lime and fresh mint and throw some lime electrolyte salt in there. So lime element salt into my glass, and it is so freaking good. So 100 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, 600 of magnesium. Staying hydrated is crucial and is a huge priority of mine. And proper hydration isn't just about drinking water. You gotta have adequate water and electrolytes. So I have a code for you. When you purchase Element from www.drinklmnt.com/kickassstepmom, you can get a free sample pack so you can try all the flavors and pick your faves. I love lime and watermelon. Those are my two go-tos. You get to choose what you love and what is best for you. So when you purchase Element from www.drinklmnt.com/kickassstepmom, you can get a free sample pack so you can try all the flavors. That's www.drinklmnt.com/kickassstepmom for a free sample pack with purchase. Now, question, will my foods change ever? Like, will my body, so say I was to redo my blood test in a year from now, like, is it always going to be the button, mushrooms, and tomatoes? And there's obviously so much more on my list, but will it change?
That's a really great question. And so you nailed it with the 1 year mark. past 1 year, absolutely our lab value markers will change. And so it is possible that we could look at a new food list as to what would be most advantageous for you. However, by the time you've been on the program for the year, you've built the lifestyle, people are in a position like yourself where it's like, I don't necessarily need a new food list. Like my body is healed. I know what foods I can reintroduce. So markers do change, absolutely. But very rarely do I go back to a new food list. A handful of times, mostly I will say post pregnancy, because then our body has definitely gone through a lot of changes and those metabolic markers and those lab values will change. So at that point, I might recommend a new food list. But for the most part, we work with the first one to begin with, and then we build and we have that learning curve from there. And you don't necessarily need to have a second one.
Okay, cool. So I want to go back to gut health for a second though, because I feel like this is just such a buzzword. Like everyone's talking about their gut health. If someone has been hearing gut health and kind of gets it, but doesn't really get it, like what are we talking about with like healing my gut?
Yeah, so our gut health is really important. And so unfortunately, where we live, especially in North America, I will say we actually have the worst nutrition system globally. Like it's horrendous. It's awful. Just the amount of chemicals, pesticides, hormones, steroids, all the things that are allowed into our food, like our convenience items are just awful. And there's places where the way we eat is illegal in those countries, right? So it's pretty awful. And so naturally, humans and like our biological DNA, we have a certain amount of microbiome. So we have our good, healthy gut bacteria and that not so good bacteria. And it really helps with how our body operates, and it helps with our digestive system, and it helps with, breaking down foods, all of the things. And so what's happening is we're really interfering with this process. And not only are we interfering with it ourselves for just the way that we consume what we consume, which isn't any one person's fault, right? Like what you're presented with as far as our food system options here is it's hard to navigate. But we're also changing this for future generations. And so now you're hearing things way more than we ever did before, like irritable bowel syndrome, diverticulitis, Crohn's, colitis, celiac disease. Like this is just becoming so common because we're literally mutating DNA and it's like genuinely interfering with people's systems. So the more that we can educate ourselves on how we can fix this and how we can actually best support our system is how you're going to like relieve yourself of a lot of those. So all of those things I just mentioned, I work with all of those clients because there's a lot of autoimmune conditions. There's a lot of inflammatory issues that we can work with healing food. But the simplest way, because you could dive into a lot of research around gut health, but what I find the simplest way is, and that my clients appreciate, is without having to fully research it and fully understand it, they're given a plan to heal it. It's like, I know I'm going to heal it if I eat these foods and I eat at these times a day, and I'm going to heal a lot of that internal inflammation. So that's where I think they appreciate, without fully understanding exactly the changes that are happening, they can feel that the changes are happening and they can feel those improvements. And so for a lot of people, like I have a lot of people that come to me for the healing component of the plan, nothing to do with weight loss. Maybe for some of them, if that happens, great. But it's like, I actually am so uncomfortable with how I feel every day. I have a lot of, issues. I have so much bloating, gas, discomfort. I can't, get through the full workday because I'm up going to the bathroom all the time. Like, what is happening in my system? And those are the things that we need to correct. And so food plays a really big part. But for some of my clients, there might need to be a little bit of a gut repopulation with certain, probiotics or other things that we can use to also support the healing process, depending on what we're starting with. And so we do a little bit more of an in-depth medical assessment to see what people are dealing with in the first place. And then that helps us best tailor the protocol to them.
So interesting. And so let's talk about the program in terms of, we were talking like the times of day to eat and the water and things like that. That was huge for, is it the pillars?
So there's a couple of different things. So there's the 8 daily rules and the 4 pillars of health. So the 8 daily rules apply to everybody on the program. And I can do a really quick recap. Rule number 1 is to eat 3 really well-balanced meals a day. This is because we are keeping your insulin low and slow. We are giving your digestive system a break, and we are working on stable blood sugars. So 3 really well-balanced meals. And I know you can attest to it. It curbs those cravings when you stabilize your blood sugars by having those 3 meals.
I know. And it's hard to get, like, I was a grazer. Like, I was just kind of like always eating. And I think that's why I was hungry at the first couple of days, because I was not used to not eating all the time, right? So that can be a trick, but it's changed everything. Like I'm not hungry all the time. I'm not thinking about food all the time. I'm satisfied. But yeah, the 3 meals a day was huge.
And you know what? And that was even a change for me, right? I mean, if you're kind of going back to a little bit more old school, like we were always taught like, oh, to keep your metabolism going and have you like 6 meals a day. And it's like, well, wait a minute, we need to manage our insulin to support our blood sugar. So really new science shows that 3 really well-balanced meals is going to be most effective. And I always do tell clients that first week, it really isn't even the first full week. It's like you said, it's the first few days is the adjustment. But I always just say, give yourself the first week to really embrace this learning curve. Trust the process, message me with questions. Let's really get through this learning curve of the first week. After the first week, it just gets so much easier. And that's really a short window when it comes to the rest of your lifetime, really, and all of the benefits you're going to have. So 3 really well-balanced meals. The goal is to have that break roughly 5 hours in between meals. When you have roughly 5 hours, it's called daily intermittent fasting. So you tap between a glucose and a fat-burning fuel source. So we're giving that stretch so that after your meal, your body's using glucose as a fuel source. And then we have that window where it taps into that fat-burning fuel source in between. So the goal is to have roughly 5 hours between meals. You don't want to allow a meal to last longer than 60 minutes. This is just, again, for grazers. If someone has their lunch at their desk and they're like picking away at it all afternoon for hours, then your insulin continues to do this. So we want to finish a meal within a reasonable amount of time. Rule number 4 is to start your meal with protein. So protein releases glucagon. Glucagon slows down the release of insulin. So it's such a simple one. When you sit down to eat, you're like, okay, I'm having salad, a couple bites of chicken first, and then finish your salad, whatever it might be.
When Darren goes to eat now and he has protein first, I can't even, he said, can you just let me eat how I want to eat? I said, I'm sorry, I can't. I said, can you just take your protein first? I'm like, it's going to make a huge difference. He's like, geez, Jamie. I'm like, please.
No, it's so funny. I've had clients where they're like, oh my God, they're like spit their food out. They're like, I forgot my protein first. I'm like, okay, it doesn't necessarily have to be that extreme. But when you get into a habit, it is the easiest, simplest thing you can do. It's just getting into the habit. Rule number 3 is 3 different proteins a day. So for example, you might have eggs for breakfast, chicken for lunch, beans for dinner, or beef, whatever it might be. So 3 different proteins maximizes your absorption of amino acids, which is really important for hormone production in a short form. Rule number 6, do not eat after 9 p.m. Preferably. I do work with a lot of shift workers. Obviously, there's a little bit of flexibility. Rule number 7 is your water. And so the water plays such an imperative role. It plays so many vital functions in the body, but 85% of weight loss happens through urine. And so by giving our body the tools it needs to excrete, that's going to be most beneficial. So water will be a big, important key, but your water prescription is tailored to you. It's not like everybody needs to drink this much water. It's like you specifically need to drink this much water. And then the last one is a daily apple. It's so simple, and it really does take it back to the apple a day keeps the doctor away, because there is some validity to that. It's a power-packed multivitamin. It lowers your uric acid. It draws toxins to the colon for elimination. The pectin fiber helps with satiety. There's just so many benefits. And it's just such a simple thing. You just include it with one of your meals. So
I love a Royal Gala apple.
Yeah, right. And it's like really simple kind of set of rules that we work on in the beginning. And it doesn't take long until they become so habitual that you're not even thinking about the daily rules. They just have integrated into your life. So that's the 8 daily rules. Me personally, I coach on the 4 pillars of health: nutrition, exercise, sleep, and stress management. And so my job is to start with your baseline. So if you remember, we go through a baseline as to how you kind of would rate where you're at with each of these pillars. And then my job is to best support you into finding that really good wellness and that good place of balance that fits your lifestyle, right? I don't take somebody who never exercised and was like, that's it, we're going to HIIT training every morning. Like, absolutely not. We're not even going to bring in exercise for the first several weeks. So the point is we work on a wellness protocol, again, that's specific and tailored to you with those 4 pillars of health. And the goal at the end of the 6 months is that you're in that really good place where you know what works for you in all of those areas. The nutrition plan is the anchor, the nutrition pillar, but those other pillars are really important. And the one that goes overlooked for its importance the most is the sleep pillar. A lot of people are really struggling with their sleep. They're not falling asleep. They're not staying asleep. They're not getting into their REM sleep cycle, and therefore they're not detoxifying properly. And it causes huge problems in their day-to-day life. So it's a big, important pillar that isn't in my opinion, necessarily talked about enough. So 8 daily rules, 4 pillars of health.
Mm-hmm. It's so interesting. Like as you're going through them, I'm like, oh yeah, I do those. I don't even think about them anymore. Exactly. Right. It's just kind of part.
Yeah.
Now you talk about, so 85% of weight loss comes through urine. Yeah. Can you unpack that for me? Because I remember you said it and I was trying to tell, Darren's probably so annoyed at this. I'm going to have him listen to this episode because I'm trying to tell him bits and pieces of the process. And he's like, you're not making any sense. So this will be good.
Yeah. And so this is actually one of the trainings I did years ago. So I will say that other 15% is feces, sweat, and actually a small amount that we expel through breath, even when we're sleeping. So primarily, our body, it needs to be given. So if I kind of sum it up, it's a bit of a toxic load. So our fat cells will expand when, whatever we're putting into our body, food, drink, even just the air we breathe, it all has a toxic matter. And when our body can't process it anymore, it has to start storing it, and it stores it in our fat cells. And that's how our fat cells start to get bigger. All of a sudden we start to change these habits, right? Okay, I'm going to follow this great nutrition plan. And so we start to change our habits. Our body starts to respond. So this kind of excess, I call it toxic storage in these fat cells, starts to release into our bloodstream. And then it needs to exit. It needs to leave the body. And so the water is our exit strategy. It's our exit tool. It's how we excrete all of this from the body. So the process of weight loss is actually releasing that built up, basically that storage in our fat cells. And so a lot of people don't always fully realize why the water is so important. But when they understand, like, wait, the tool that I actually need to lose the weight is through the water, then it makes them that much more keen to drink it. They're like, okay, now it makes sense to me. So the water is really, like I always tell everyone, it's like that secret ticket to unlock all of the success. You do all of the other things right, but the water is going to be your process of elimination. Mm-hmm. The other piece that a lot of my clients will find once they're like yourself, they're feeling great, the plan, has done wonders for them. They're drinking their water, everything's wonderful. But all of a sudden they have a few days where they don't get all of their water in. And they're like, oh my gosh, like I'm tired, I'm sluggish. I don't have like that sharp focus or clarity that I normally have. And they're like, oh my gosh, I haven't been drinking my water. So there's so many other components to adequate hydration. And then once your body becomes used to it, it becomes dependent on it. And then another thing that you just do without thinking about it, right? You just drink your water. Eventually you're not thinking about it. For some people, this is an adjustment, getting the water in, and eventually it leads to another healthy habit that you don't even think about anymore.
Okay, so if you were listening to this episode and you're like, okay, I need to do this, I am in, I am ready to commit, I have a discount for you. So if you go to www.jenrhn.com and use the code KICKASSSTEPMOM, you can get $100 off the program, which is, in my mind, well, it's literally the best money I've ever spent on myself. So you can get $100 off with the code KICKASSSTEPMOM. And if you choose to do a free consult with Jen, just let her know that I sent you. She will hook you up with that as well. But guys, this metabolic reset has truly changed my life. My girlfriend had phenomenal results as well. There's so many people that I know now who have tried the program, and it's literally changed the way they eat, the way they approach life, the way that they feel. The benefits are endless. So head to www.jenrhn, that's Jen, JenTherHN.com, and use the code KICKASSSTEPMOM to get $100 off. And when you join, shoot me a DM. I just can't wait to talk to you about the whole process. I'm obsessed. So let's talk about stress then. So we're drinking our water, we're getting our sleep. How much does stress affect, say, weight loss?
It does. So when cortisol levels are immensely elevated, it is going to slow that process down. Mm-hmm. So when I evaluate the pillars of health and I can see that the stress pillar is the one that is weighing the heaviest, really the best thing that someone can do when the stress pillar is really heavy is actually really focus on the other 3 pillars. So when we can shift and make really impactful change on how we're fueling our body, good, adequate nutrients, you're hydrating, you're working on that mobility, we're having really good sleep, getting into the REM sleep cycle, detoxifying, all of those good things that come with the other 3 pillars, all of a sudden the stress pillar really starts to lift and improve. And what I tell everyone is it's not that the stressful situation goes away, right? Whatever might be stressful in your life, there might be different avenues that you need to take to determine how you can make that situation less stressful, whether it's a work situation, whether it's a personal home situation. There might be other avenues, but what I can tell you is by focusing on those other 3 pillars of health and really giving yourself the self-care that you deserve, you are going to be in a much more capable place to work on those strategies as to what the next steps is to manage the stress pillar. And that is what's so powerful. And so that's where everyone deserves that. Everyone deserves to carve out that time to make sure that they have that self-care that they need to manage things that are stressful in their life.
Mm-hmm. That's so funny that you're saying that right now, because I literally just did a reel on Instagram talking about, exercise and eating healthy and getting your water and fueling your body, like all the things. So many stepmoms are struggling with how they're managing their step family life, and they're feeling triggered all the time, and all of the stuff is going on. But it's like, these are the things that make you feel like a better stepmom or help you show up and deal with these stressful situations actually have nothing to do with it. And it sounds so corny. And I know you're like, if you're not taking care of yourself, like blah, blah, blah. But it's so true. Like everyone keeps saying it because it's literally so true. And for some reason, we can't get it, right? Like people struggle so much to understand like how much that fueling your body, moving your body, getting your sleep, all the things impacts how you show up. And I don't know if it's hustle culture. I don't know if it's, the pressure that's put on women like in our society, right? I don't know what it is, but we just have to really hear that.
Absolutely. I think it's coming at us from all angles, right? Like just this level up, level up, level up. And sometimes like the 5 a.m. club and okay, great. Waking up and being a part of the 5 a.m. club to do your workout is wonderful if you got to bed at a reasonable time. Otherwise, the badge of honor is actually getting enough sleep so that you're well rested. And that's just one of several examples. Mm-hmm. But you're absolutely right. To be able to show up every day and, manage those situations that can be stressful, that self-care piece is vital. It's number one. And it's so, so very important. Mm-hmm. And again, everybody deserves that for themselves. And we do live in this really, really fast-paced world. And so sometimes it's like, what are my priorities? What's most important to me? What am I looking to accomplish? And, how can I get that done? Because of so many women that we know that like they're living in burnout mode. And then so trying to manage a stressful situation when you're in burnout mode, it does not work, right? Mm-hmm. It can infuse the stress and make a such stressful situation more stressful. So we need to stop trying to manage stressful situations in burnout mode. We need to work on that self-care piece first so that we can work towards those resolutions for those stressful situations.
Mm-hmm. And I think so many women are in burnout mode and don't even know it. So like I have been open about, I literally was in burnout. I was not okay. I had to take pause off my podcast and like, just kind of like press pause on so many things. I've been working on myself with this. And I didn't know I could feel like this. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that the way I was feeling wasn't normal. Right. And I think we've just normalized this go, 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 this feeling of this rush. And we don't know. And there's so much power in that pause. And, going to that 5 a.m. thing you're talking about, I love to wake up at like 4:30 in the morning or 5. I love it. Love it. I also really love to be horizontal by 7:30 p.m.
Exactly.
And I think that's the piece that people are missing. So when you go to like set your alarm at night, go on your Apple and you can like put your bedtime and making sure you're getting the sleep that you need to get. If I'm not going to get 8 hours that night, I'm not setting my alarm for 5. I might set it for 7. You know what I mean? Like you need to make sure you're taking care of yourself. There's no badge of honor for the 5 a.m. club is great, except for if you feel like you're going to barf because you're so tired. Like
exactly.
How zen is that? How's your meditation then?
It's not. And that's just it. And people are overexerting themselves and their cortisol levels are through the roof and they're relying on adrenaline and then everything can crash. So I really love what you just said there, the power of the pause, right?
Oh.
Like the power of that pause to acknowledge what your body needs and start listening to the signals of your body. And I work with so many people who exactly what you just said, they are so used to feeling fairly awful, really, that they're so used to it that it becomes their normal, that they don't even realize what they're capable of accomplishing and how amazing that they can feel until they have the power of the pause. And allow themselves to take that learning curve and listen to those inner signals of their body and honor them and appreciate them and then move forward. So I love that.
Yeah. I just did a podcast episode with Ashley Neese, and she's all about breath work and, women and burnout and all of that. And we were talking about how like women, we're not even breathing, right? We're really not even breathing, and getting into that habit of paying attention throughout the day. Again, like, have you had your water? Have you had your rest? How's your stress? But am I breathing?
Yes.
Right? Like, am I taking full breaths right now? And paying attention to your body too is so huge. And especially when it comes to managing that stress, right?
Especially for stress management, breath work is so powerful.
And it's not like people think it's so corny. Oh, breath work. Yeah, you're not going and sitting on maybe you are. Like sometimes I do, but it's not about just going and having some kumbaya experience in the middle of your day full of meetings.
Right.
It might be, before I get on my next call, I will probably kind of like stop, reset, take some full breaths, and you don't even realize how powerful that is in managing that stress, right?
Absolutely. Honestly, I have a window next to me here, and I know in between meetings or calls, and like phone gets flipped over, screen is blank, just like a few moments throughout the day to have those deep breaths, have those moments of gratitude, whether it's like affirmations, whatever it is that you're manifesting, just small moments throughout the day actually really help to manage those stress levels for sure.
Yeah. And I challenge anyone who hears us saying this and like, okay, this just got really corny.
Yeah, try it.
Well, how is it working for you doing it the other way? Like you want to chirp people who are talking about manifestations and self-care and like leveling up and like all the things, but like, how's life right now?
Right.
Right. Like, are you where you want to be? Right. So like, I just, even to challenge people cause I know there's just a lot of people out there who are like, oh God, the manifesting, the self-talk and gratitude, all of that. It's like, well, how's it going?
Yeah, right. It's that comes to an inner evaluation as to, where are you at in your life right now? Is it a place you want to be, or do you feel that maybe you would benefit from some of these changes? And keep in mind, it's not these changes all at once. You're not all of a sudden, all of those pillars of health, you have all of these things and, breath work and stuff. It's things that you slowly start to piece and integrate into your life that you get to a better place of balance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And, to wrap it up, like, I started this in September, I think. Yeah, because we were talking about, I was going to the fair with my daughter. We were like going back and forth.
Yes, I remember. Yeah.
So I started in September. So we're in January now. And it's been a slow, just like slowly seeing the progress, right? It's not this like big, huge transformation. And in that, I've had dinners out with friends. I have had family celebrations. I've had bowls of pasta. I've had, like I've still lived my life. And so I don't want people to be like, oh, I don't want this like restriction. That's not, it really isn't. It's about knowing what works for you. And you just kind of have that default to come back to.
Yeah, I am such a huge advocate of balance because I think that is so important. I would never want to sacrifice date night with my husband or family outings with the kids, girls' nights, like all of the things that I love to enjoy. I'm not sacrificing those. And so this is why I tell clients we're going to work together for, that 6 months-ish, because anything that is like a 30-day boot camp, it's like, all right, I'm going to restrict all of my favorite things for 30 days, but then it's over. And then it's like, oh.
Then you're in the McDonald's drive-thru getting a Big Mac.
Exactly. And it's like, that's not really benefiting me in any way, not for my longevity, not for like the long-term benefits that I'm looking to accomplish. And so I think it's very important. And so this is where I have a conversation with clients beginning is I was like, we really need to detach from the all in or all out mentality. Mm-hmm. And this is what a lot of people struggle with because they're like, all right, I'm either all in and I'm doing everything perfectly. But the moment I veer off and go and enjoy myself, it's like, oh, that's it. I might as well be all out. And that is clearly not an effective method. We know that it isn't. So let's detach from that way of thinking. Mm-hmm. Let's start focusing more on how we can focus on your health and wellness most of the time, where you're very comfortable to also go and have date nights, girls' night, whatever it means to you, whatever's important to you that you also want to make sure you incorporate. So that's a big piece that we talk about in the beginning so that you can have that mindset of knowing what you're going into.
Mm-hmm. And it's sustainable too, right? Like how many people do you know? And like, this is no shame on anyone who's done keto and, had success with it. But how many people did you see lose so much weight on keto? And then you see them like a year and a half later or 2 years later, and you're like, oh my gosh, like it's all back and more.
Always.
Right? Because it's not like you can't just eat pepperettes your whole life. And I know there's more to keto, blah, blah, but like, you know what I mean? Like that's not a sustainable way
it's not
to live your life.
Yeah. And I guess I shouldn't say always, but most of the time, right? There is a handful of people where they're like, sure, okay, great. They're living that ketogenic lifestyle always. But the way of our world and our culture and our society and just kind of the way that we want to have some of that balance is not conducive to a ketogenic lifestyle, which is basically, and to sum it up, it's a survival mode, right? Our body as humans, we are used to tapping between that glucose and that fat burning fuel source. And when we remove the glucose for long enough, our body goes into survival mode. What just happened? I used to have a glucose fuel source, and I can be talking really good, healthy glucose, right? We're talking carrots and apples and fruits and vegetables. And then we remove that glucose fuel source. And so our body is surviving. And then so the reason the weight comes on so rapidly is we can introduce the smallest amount of that fuel source back. And our body's like, oh my gosh, we have this back again. I'm going to retain this as much as possible. Like, I don't know when I'm going to lose this fuel source again. So it can be a tricky place for people to balance and sustain. And so we like to avoid that by actually fueling the body with all micronutrients, because the body can very well process a healthy glucose fuel source as well. But when you learn to tap into what I call metabolic flexibility between the glucose and the fat burning fuel source, that's how you set yourself up for the sustainability long term.
Well, this has been so good. And I feel like now you've basically explained what I've been doing. Because again, I just had my girlfriend do the research and I was like, no, I just feel good. I want to learn more. But I do think so many women are struggling right now. So many women with their hormones and, going into like 30s and 40s, 50s, our bodies are changing and what we were doing isn't working anymore. And this information is invaluable. So where can everyone find you if they're interested in learning more?
Yeah, absolutely. I hope that it's been useful for so many. So you can contact me directly. So you can go to my website, which is jenlyrhn.com. A lot of people do like to follow me on Instagram. I have a lot of good content there. So my Instagram is jen.the.rhn. You probably can just search jenlyrhn. And then you can email me directly, which is just contact@jenlyrhn.com. So several avenues to explore there to get in touch with me. I would love to hear from you. I do initial consultations, are always complimentary so that we can just have a really good open conversation about your needs, your health goals, what you're looking to accomplish, and make sure that we can really tailor the best solution that's going to be most effective for you.
Well, so good. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
That's it for this one. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if this episode resonated with you, I'd be so grateful if you could share it with someone in your life who you think could benefit from it. And if you haven't already left a rating and a review on iTunes, it really is the best way to support the show. And if you're craving more real talk and coaching and community, be sure to check out my membership, the Kick-Ass Stepmom community. Head to www.kickassstepmom.com to learn more.